begin with our session 2. Welcome, Joe.
Moving on a little bit from idioms, I think it's very helpful if you realise you can help your students. So don't always say, oh, I don't know what the schools teach in Australia, but you can help them, and these notes will even help you when you go to give a speech or a talk in Australia. So the big thing, I'll just go through some of these notes. The students need to plan for their talk by researching well. And it's so easy now because they can go on the computer, they can go on their iPad and find out a lot of what they want to talk about. And even for yourselves, it's quite a good idea if it's a speech for school that they put the notes on small cards and just have notes there. And speak out. Don't worry if you don't use the correct English, but speak out. Don't talk down like this, because that does not give you any brownie points from the teacher. So learning how to talk in public is something that we want more of our young people in Australia to do. So your young people probably can set an example to us. So on the day they're going to give the speech, talk about taking deep breaths. Because some, especially I think when you're at university or at high school, you tend to rush through them as fast as you can just so you can get it all out. And then your words sound garbled and we can't understand. So I think the fact that don't worry if you speak slowly, because it's more important to do that and to hold the audience's attention. And then, notice how I just stopped then? So I said, and then stop. Pause before you start your next thought, or pause quite a few times when you're talking. So use as clear a voice as you can, look at your audience. If you're going to tell funny stories, don't tell too many. Often if you go to church at all, you'll know that the minister might give one funny story. Then he will talk about the serious side of what he's actually trying to say. So just be careful not to overdo funny stories. And then the thing to tell your students is just relax and be yourself. If you try to imitate other young people who sounded like their speech was amazing, you can actually do yourself harm than actually learning and doing it well. So I think too, before you finish your speech, pause, tell them to pause, to look around their group or their class, smile and thank them for listening. And if they're going to give a summary, that would be really good. So don't mumble, don't show off, and don't tell too much that's not interesting. The second page I've said here, get mine to flip over. Know what your purpose is when you're giving a talk. And 1, 2, 3, go down to the 4th sentence, and I've typed it very large. Is my goal, can you see that? Is my goal to clarify? That means a good explanation. To describe, to explain. Am I trying to persuade them this is the best product to use or the best thing to do? Do I just want to inform people? So if they were talking about Taiwan, what life in Taiwan is like, they would be informing. So they just need key points of things about your country that we would like to know. If they're recounting, recount is a popular word in education right now. So recounting might be like if you were talking to young children and they had a fable or something that's make-believe story from your culture, that is called a recount, or they're narrating a story for someone. So you can still pause, you can still emphasise your main point, you can still instruct or do what you need to do. So if your young person is doing some homework and he tells you, I have to give a speech, you say, what is the purpose of the speech? Is it to give information? Is it to present and persuade them that tennis is a better sport than softball? So you think now, what is the purpose of my speech so that I can do it well? And underneath that I've said text may have an orientation. So an orientation is, this is the setting. This is the setting where this could happen. Or when I lived in Taiwan, this was the setting. I lived in a very large city, we lived in a high rise, and now you will understand the roads are very, very busy, and for me to get to my school or my campus, you have to allow time because you're going to have to encounter lots of traffic. So what's the problem? Then you might come to a climax. So you're introducing, you're telling the information, but what I really want to get through to you today is life is never going to be easy. You're always going to have to learn a bit more. You're always going to have to, even after university, you still are learning through life. So that would be like the climax point for some kinds of speeches. And how do you resolve it? You keep doing refreshers. So a refresher is a course to keep you up to date with what's going on. So think about why you're talking and what your main points are going to be. If it was just a written piece, then there's a few more ideas there. But this last page, I've put up the top. This is an ideas board for a student to form an essay or a speech. So that could be you. It's called, this is an ideas board. Can you all see it?
The idea of ideas.
Yes, idea board. So the speech in this case is about computers and the internet have changed our lives. So this is quite a popular topic that teachers might set. And so they could say, when computers first came in, hardly anyone used them. So they didn't have much of an impact on the way we do things. But now millions of people around the world use computers and they've changed our lives. So going slow on your main point like that, computers have changed our lives. If people remember nothing else, they'll remember like 3 main points of what you said. But if you run it all together real fast, they won't remember anything. So that's what I've said here. So these are just little ideas. How has the introduction of this technology changed the culture of Australians? Firstly, we can be in contact with each other instantly. It's quite cheap anywhere in the world to use your cell phone, to use your computer. You can get new ideas. We just have to do a Google search, something like that, and you can find out ideas very quickly. You don't have to take a trip to the library, get out the encyclopedia, find the right volume on the wall. You can do that if it's in depth. But a lot of things have been made so simple because of the internet and computers in our lives. The sad part about computers, and I've put it here, these are all just like an ideas bank. We have to be careful to take care not to lose our traditions. Know what you believe in. Computers have changed the way we do business. We can shop online. People can find out about the Australian culture. But computers can also bring problems into our lives. So it's important to bring balance. So see how we've talked about how great they are, but then talk about, but they're not the answer. And that's why we talked earlier in my sessions about you monitoring them. When they're in chat rooms, when they're on TikTok, you've just got to monitor them. My daughter came to my house this morning on her way home from dropping the children at school, and you know what she said? And you will be saying this to yourself. She said, I pick my battles. Now her boy is 12, and he would like to be on his chat room and his TikTok and watching even exercises that he can do to help him with his rugby. And she said, I could be nagging him and telling him off all the time. So you pick your battles. You pick the times where you say, have you finished your homework? She found out Sunday he was meant to have read a novel for reporting back to school this week. So she said, okay, she went on the internet, found his class, what he was meant to have done. He actually is a very good reader, which is lucky for him. So she made him sit down for an hour and finish the book. And then she might have had a little chat with him about it. So I know that's twice as hard for you, but pick your battles. Don't always be nagging your teenagers or even your college students. Pick your battles, and even with the computer. I know when the children are younger, it's easier, but with younger children, you can just say half an hour in the morning, half an hour at night. Some people, Helen's family, they hardly have any TV in their house. Pastor John from church here. Ellen is from Norway. She's very strict. And like my grandchildren love their iPads. I don't know whether she ever allows her children on iPads because she values family time. So it's picking those battles. Excuse me. So computers have been great. We really would be lost without them. But it's made us want things instantly. And you will find this with your young people. They want instant everything. So computers do have a downside too. So I've put here too, ideas about society and understanding that the spread of new technology impacts our culture. And so that's one thing I mentioned earlier that we admire you for, is you have a good understanding of your culture and you endeavour to keep it. And even as the Western world, New Zealand for me, or Australia, we need to make sure our young people are respectful of traditions and what we hold close and what we have that we hold dear. And computers enable us to participate in society and know how people and students can contribute to the spread of new technology and ideas. So our attitudes and our expectations can change and contribute as they spread. So those are just some ideas that you would cover if you were giving a talk or a speech about computers and how technology has changed our lives. You could use the ideas in these last 2 or 3 pages if you were giving a talk on the solar system. Like you might be having the 9 planets and you're going to talk about the 9 planets, but then you might pick out 1 or 2, the smallest and the largest. Your teacher, the teacher at school may have told the children, choose 1 planet and tell us lots of things. Where is it in relation to the sun? And where do they have a moon? Some planets have 2 moons. So there's lots of different ways they can put together a talk or a speech. And this just gives you an idea too, as a parent, how they can draw it together and have success in the things that they're doing. So I really enjoyed my time with you. All the best, and we're going to have a lovely meal at my house. So please come. You're more than welcome. My house is not big, but it's got plenty of room for all of us. It's not the big house. So thank you again. It's been fun to come and share with you.
Thank you for Jewel have a lesson for us, and because we're going to celebrate Mother's Day on 25th of May at 1 o'clock at Jewel's house. I will text you for her address later on. And please, I will close our today's lesson by introduce our organization, which is GFCBWA. It's a abbreviation for Global Federation of Chinese Business Women of Australia, registered in 2004 at the South Pole, Gold Coast, by our founding president, Su Lin. And we are the 24th chapter of GFCBW, which is our headquarters in Taiwan, in mentoring other 74 chapters around the world. Our mission are envisioning the world, embracing the trade, establish the networks, and developing economic and trade. We regard regard to one's nationality, race, age, and political affiliation. We wish to involve the local community and promote the Taiwanese culture with the local government and the multicultural community. We have grown on Gold Coast for 17 years since 2004 and will continue growing and involving deeply with the local community this year and the following years. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you for your participation.
If anyone wanted waltzing Matilda, you're welcome to have that copy there.
Is any Q&A? Is any question for the second section? Can we have a Q&A time?
Yes, sure.
For any?
Even if it's not related to today, if you've got any questions about Australia, just ask me. I'll give you my opinion. Has anyone used online grocery shopping?
Yes.
Yeah. My daughter-in-law uses it because she's got a brand new baby. But I go to Woolworths sometimes and they were giving away 3,000 grocery points if you did online shopping. So I said, I will do it. Took me a while.
$15.
Yes.
Oh. Yes.
I did. I got $15 off my groceries the next time I shopped.
So they deliver to your door?
I could have had it delivered, but because I'm out and about, I did pick up.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
like drive through. I do drive through.
Yeah.
But only like you daily use like shampoo or something, not like you buy meat or
No.
you know what I mean? It's because the weather is sometimes
Yeah.
hot. So
I know,
and I'm not sure if that person will help me to check the dates. I don't want the meat or fresh things to
Yeah.
get nearly expired.
That's the thing.
So
I think you had to spend $100, which with a family is not too bad, but see, there's only 2 in my house.
Yeah.
So I do a big shop, then a small shop.
Yeah, yeah,
Big
yeah.
shop.
Yeah,
But the
so-
same there too. It almost pays, I think, if you're picking up to take your own coal bags. Take the coal bags.
Where do
And
you
if they replace, you can, when they replace it with something else, you can say, no, I don't want the replacement. And they'll credit you.
Yeah, I did that all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they will use other brand you probably don't like.
Yeah, you don't want that,
No,
yeah.
yeah.
Has anyone been to the stoplight in Dobina town?
Yes.
No,
I went yesterday.